What's good, everybody on YouTube? This is your boy Akil McLeod, back with another live Q&A session to answer some of you guys' reseller questions. So I'll just wait for a few people to join the live chat, and from there on out, we'll start answering some questions. So just give it a couple minutes to get some people in the chat. Are you able to see anything? I think you just gotta go to another one. There's nobody in this one either.
Oh, here you go. Okay.
Okay. All right, so I'll just start answering some questions that I had here from earlier. I got a bunch of these questions from my previous YouTube videos, and I just checked the comment section. And some of the questions, well, the majority of these questions that I already received, I already responded to that specific person, but I just wanted to share some of these questions and share the answers with you all because I'm pretty sure some of these stuff can be very helpful. So let's just get right into it. Do you use a camera to list on eBay/Poshmark? No, for me, right now, I'm just using my phone to take photos, and what I do for eBay is I'll create the actual listing on eBay first. I'll put in all the details and things like that, and then I'll take the photos and just add the photos to the listing later on. So for me, that's what works best. In the past, I used to use a DSLR, and I would have to transfer the photos from the DSLR onto the actual eBay listing, and that used to just take a little more time. Granted, the quality of the photos were a little higher because it was coming from a DSLR camera, but at the same time, I just think using your phone, especially if you have a pretty decent phone. I have a pretty old iPhone. I have an iPhone 6S, but even still, the quality is still really good, especially for eBay and for Poshmark. So at this stage of the game, for me, I'm all about trying to be as time efficient as possible. And like I said, just using your phone is just the best way to do it. Um, in terms of Poshmark, it's basically the same thing. For Poshmark, it's actually a lot easier to list on Poshmark than it is to list on eBay. So you basically can just throw on any. Basically, you can just use the phone to take the pictures for Poshmark, and it will take a lot less time. And the good thing with Poshmark is that it's a square photo, so as long as it fits within that square, you're basically good to go. So that's how I like to do my type of stuff. What's good to clean the rubber around sneakers? This question is from Vicky White. For me, what I like to do to clean the rubber on sneakers, I'm guessing you're talking about the midsole, whoever asked that question. And I actually made two videos on how to clean shoes because cleaning shoes is one of my favorite things to, not necessarily cleaning shoes, but selling shoes and listing shoes is probably the easiest things for me to list, and I actually just enjoy selling shoes. So for me, I would basically just use some rubbing alcohol to get some of the scuffs and some of the stains off of the midsole. And if it's a leather upper, like if the shoe is a leather upper, I'll use sometimes scrubbing bubbles to really get some of those tough stains out. But for the most part, scrubbing bubbles, rubbing alcohol, that usually does work best for me. And like I said, I made two videos on how to clean shoes in the past. So sometimes if it's like a fabric type of knitted shoe, I'll try to scrub the shoe out, and then I'll just throw it in the wash, and then it should be good from there. So oh yeah, definitely don't forget to ask questions if you guys have any questions in the chat. Definitely shoot as many questions as you guys have, and I'll try to run through them as much as possible. Um, okay, I'll step away from these questions and I'll get to these viewer questions now. I just started selling on Poshmark and I want to ship quickly and normally ship the same or next day. If someone buys on Friday, do you ship out on Saturday or wait until Monday? I always, if I get an order in on Friday, I'm definitely shipping out those orders on Saturday because the thing is with most orders, people just want their stuff as fast as possible. And I know if I order something online, I know I want it. Shit, I want it the next day to be honest. So I try to ship it out as soon as possible. I never wait till Saturday. I mean, the post office in my area closes at 1 on Saturday. So any orders that I get after 1 o'clock, of course, has to wait until Monday. But for the most part, as soon as I get that order, it's already packaged up. I got 2 orders on Poshmark today, and those are already boxed up and ready to go. So I really don't like to waste any time when it comes to shipping, because not only do it still takes 2 to 3 days to get to the buyer after you ship it out. So I try to just get it out. This question is from Jordan Lloyd. If you sell on Poshmark full time, do you have to have a business license? I don't think so. I don't have a business license for Poshmark. I think the whole thing with Poshmark is that they like to make it more of a boutique experience, and they like to make it as simple and as easy as possible. So they don't necessarily require any licenses or anything like that. In fact, Poshmark still has like a lot of growth to do. They don't even I don't even think they send out tax information. Like eBay, they will send out a 1099 form for you, but Poshmark doesn't do that. At least not yet. I'm pretty sure it's only a matter of time until Poshmark does start sending those out. But as of right now, you don't need a license or anything like that to sell on Poshmark. So that's a good thing. What bookkeeping program or spreadsheet do you use? Hey, from Memphis. Um, I'm gonna actually have to make a video on that, because I got a similar question in the last live stream, but I wasn't able to like, I spoke about it, but I can't really articulate it well enough. So I'm definitely gonna do a video on that. But like the summary part of it is what I do is that I'll make sure I take a note of my cost of goods, any materials that I used, like any money that I spent on, say, shipping supplies or thank you cards or anything like that. I'll make sure I keep a tally of that. Like I said, cost of goods, materials used, um, and then there's a few other things. So like I said, I'll definitely make a video on that. But basically, all I do, like the key for that, is to subtract your cost of goods from your profit margin, and that will kind of keep you in check. You'll kind of know exactly how much profit you're making, and you'll just know every month. If I spend $600 on inventory and I've usually gross around 2,000, you'll kind of know your return on investment overall. So I'll definitely make a video on that to kind of explain that a little better. But as of right now, my spreadsheet is pretty basic, so it shouldn't take too long for me to whip that up for you guys. Do you have all your items pre-packed up before you post? No, I do not. I keep everything in bins as of right now. Everything is on bins, or it's on clothing racks, like the heavier coats. I have them on racks, and I don't have them pre-packaged. Only because there's no real reason. I think pre-packaging might actually be better if you don't have a lot of space. But since I have a really big garage, I don't necessarily pre-package everything. But if you're kind of tight on space, I do suggest probably pre-packaging your stuff and putting a number on it. That way you can easily, get through your inventory and ship things out as soon as possible. Because, like I said, that's probably the most important thing when it comes to reselling. Does eBay only send 1099 for members with an eBay store, or for everyone who sells on that platform? That's a good question. So basically, they send you a 1099 if you made over $20,000 in sales, not profit, like $20,000 in sales, and or you sold 200 or more items. So basically, if you're under the $20,000 mark and you sold like 150 items, they're not going to send you anything. I still suggest you probably, claim that on your taxes, because that is a really big write-off that you can probably do. But they're not going to send you anything if you didn't hit any of those requirements. Getting back to some of the questions that I had prepared. This question is, I found a Burberry suit at the thrift. Should I list it on Poshmark or on eBay? If eBay auction, or just a buy it now price? And for me, what I like to do on eBay when it comes to suits and blazers, I usually sell most of my suits and blazers on eBay, especially vintage suits, because there's a whole market and a whole community of people that search for those type of stuff on eBay. Poshmark, not so much. There's not a lot of people that are like actively shopping for blazers and jackets and like formal wear, like dressier clothes. It's not like Poshmark really isn't that audience. And granted, there is some people that sell a lot of blazers, but honestly, I've probably sold maybe 2 blazers on Poshmark in the past 2 months, and I've sold maybe 20 blazers on eBay in the past 2 months. So I usually sell most of my blazers and jackets, and especially vintage stuff, on eBay, and like the newer modern stuff, I'll try to sell on Poshmark. Here's another question I have. Hello, thanks for the video. I tried to find these sold listings on eBay. Wanted to refer to something. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I couldn't find them. Can you please advise? Now, the thing with a lot of my sold listings, and that's why I make sold videos for you guys, so that you guys can still learn some new brands to look out for. But since I list all of my items on eBay as good until canceled, basically that means and I also it's listed good until canceled, but they're also hidden listings because I don't like to show everything that I'm selling because of course since this is all public information, I don't want to tell certain people that I don't want to share everything. You know, I'm sharing a lot as it is, and there's some stuff that I sell and it's like a replenishable, like I'll sell that constantly, so I don't want people to pick up those same exact things and then the market plummets because as you know, especially with clothes, certain brands they get hot and then they just die out completely. So I don't share everything. So some of my listings are actually hidden, but at the same time I do what sold videos and I basically share all of that stuff for you guys. So at the end of the day, you basically still get all the information anyway. What's this? Akil, would you be bold enough to call yourself king of Poshmark? Hell no. I'm not king of nothing yet. But
You're a king in the household.
oh, all right, y'all heard it. Y'all heard it here first. I ain't even had to say that. But now when it comes to the resale game, somebody else dropped a comment said I was the resale goat. I don't think I'm that. I don't think I'm there yet. Like once I'm there, I might make a video and claim it like LeBron said. But as of right now, I'm not the resale goat. Like I'm seeing people really killing it. They got employees. They got a warehouse. They're doing it at a major level. I think for me, I'm probably doing the most that one person can do. I think if I'm pretty sure there's still other people that's doing way more than me and it's just them by themselves, but for the most part when it comes to the sourcing, the shipping, the processing, the listing, like it's a lot of work. And then incorporating YouTube, that's also like another part-time job. So for me, I do think there will be a point where I consider, getting an employee or just getting some help overall to help with the listing and sourcing and stuff like that. But as of right now, I think I'm just doing what I can do for a one person team. What do you do when you get offers way over asking price? When does that ever happen? Who asked that question? Somebody. This is Teresa McKinney. What do you do when you get offers? You know what? This actually happened once, but it wasn't way over the asking price. It was maybe $1 or $2 over the asking price, and that happened only because it was an international order, and I think their money once it the money transferred, it was a little more than my asking price. It was probably $2 or $3 more. But anything like $10 over, that's probably just a scam, and they probably won't even send you the money. But that's not normal. That's not a common thing. So don't get too caught up with stuff like that. Um, Next question I got here from Carmen S. Love this vid as well. Do you wash and or iron clothes before that you buy from the thrift/garage sales? I think musty smelling clothes might be a turn off for buyers. Well, that is true. Musty clothes is a turn off for buyers. Musty clothes is a turn off for everybody. Like you shouldn't even have musty clothes around you. But for me, I don't wash everything. If it has like a really strong cologne smell, I'm definitely gonna wash that and try to get that smell out. If it's a really like thick cigarette smell, I'm probably not gonna purchase it because I know like smoke and stuff like that just it's hard to get out. So I probably don't even pick those stuff up. But if there's like a small stain or if it's like I picked up an item last week when I was in LA and it had like a hot sauce stain on the sleeve, but it was a dope jacket, so I still picked it up and I washed it and that stain came out. So it's certain stuff that like as you get more experience, you'll figure out which stains you can get out and which stains will probably be a challenge. And the stuff that usually looks like a challenge, I just pass on it even if it is something that's like really expensive because for the most part there is a lot of people on eBay that sell like really ratty stuff. Like they'll sell stuff with holes and stains and it still sells. But for me, I just prefer selling quality things. That way, I don't get a whole bunch of returns and I just don't get unsatisfied customers because that's just bad for business. Do you have lots of returns on eBay? No, my return rate right now is probably like I should probably check it just to be 1,000% honest with you guys, but I do believe my return rate right now is probably like 2%, 3%, and it's usually because the item didn't fit. So the way with me, what kind of helps avoid a bunch of returns when you're selling clothing on eBay in particular, the number one thing is you should put measurements, because some people don't even watch the measurements, some people don't care. But when you do put measurements, people would probably like put that up against something that they already own, and they'll say, okay, this is a similar chest to what I have, so I'm pretty sure this is gonna fit. So once you add measurements, that definitely helps like lower the return rate. But at the same time, it's like if somebody's just unhappy with it for whatever the reason, they're just gonna return it. But my return rate is super, super, super low. So I'm just been fortunate because I know there's some sellers that sell a lot of stuff, but their return rate is really big. But for clothing, especially if you're a clothing seller, I know there's a lot of people that get a lot of returns. But for me, I guess I'm just lucky. How do you send offers to watchers on eBay? eBay doesn't have that. I, if they do have that feature, I don't use it. I don't know if that's even possible, but I do know if you was to like lower the price and you're a watcher, I know they send out an email and they let you know that the thing that you've been watching, the price was lowered. So I don't if there is an offer to like us or offer to watch us feature on eBay, I don't use it, but I mean, I'm sure eBay got that in the works because the offer to like us feature on Poshmark, that shit is booming. How do you hide items on eBay? Does that only happen in your sold feedback? Let me, my lazy self, up and get to posting this Burberry coat. Um, so basically, the first thing is to change all your listings to good until canceled, and then once you go into your account settings, I think it's somewhere by your name. There says something where it's like make your sold listings public, and then you just check that off. But just go in your account settings and just look for that filter, but make sure that all your listings are good until cancel, and that's basically the two-step way to get it done. Next question I have here is, thanks for the what sold video, bro. What is your strategy for cross posting? Just remove the item from the other platform after it sells, or do you only list certain items on Poshmark that are different from eBay listings? Now, for me right now, my strategy is to my strategy actually changed. I used to list everything on eBay. I used to put everything on Poshmark, or at least all the clothing. But now, I'm trying to rev up my Poshmark store, so I put a lot of things that's not necessarily on eBay. It's only in my Poshmark closet. So I'm trying to just like basically double my Poshmark inventory. So at this point, I maintain about 150 on Poshmark. I'm trying to get 250 to like 300 listings only on Poshmark. So, but because it's so easy to list on Poshmark, you can crank out a bunch of listings in an hour. You could literally just take the photos really really quick and you're good to go. The other thing with Poshmark too, why it's so easy to list, is that there's not as many categories to check off, and there's not as many filters, and you don't necessarily need to add measurements on Poshmark either. There's a lot of buyers that don't care for measurements, and if they do care for measurements, they'll just ask you. But for the most part, if you're selling like a modern brand and it's a size medium, people trust that, I have a medium and I know this is what's going to work for me, so they'll just buy it. So as of right now, I'm listing things a little differently, but in the past, my method was basically to list everything that was on eBay, put it on Poshmark, and whichever sold first, I would just take it down from that other platform. But the tricky thing with that, because sometimes this actually happened to me once where I wasn't fast enough and an item sold on Poshmark, and then the next day the same item sold on eBay because I forgot to take it down. And basically what I did is that, and I suggest don't do this because this was wrong on my part, but I canceled the Poshmark order because there was no penalty for canceling a Poshmark order. But on eBay, if you was to cancel an order, you can get like a strike on your account, and if you keep getting those type of strikes, you can get suspended or banned or something like that. You can get punished on eBay. So I suggest that you guys probably don't do that because that can probably get you in trouble. But that was just a one-time thing, and I just had to like cover my ass. So I did that one time, but I suggest you guys not do that because what I probably should have done, I probably should have just bit the bullet and just honored the first person that bought it on Poshmark. Like that's probably what I should have done. That would have been the better thing to do. But at the time, I was nervous. I was like, damn, this never happened before. What the fuck am I about to do? And then I just dropped the ball. Next question. this is actually like a double question, but at the end of the day, the question was, what percentage of your sales go to California? Um, and honestly, I would say, since I do live in California, I think there is a certain group of people that would search for items on eBay. They would search via location. That way they know it could get to them within like 2 to 3 days. So I'm not gonna say 50%, but maybe like 30 to 40% of my sales are just California people or like West Coast people, because they know if I ship it out, it'll, even if I ship it out first class, they'll get it within like 2 to 3 days. So I do think like there is some people that search for items based on location. Um, we got another question in the chat. Is $100 a good startup cost flipping thrifties on eBay? Yeah, I think $100 is good, especially if your thrift store isn't expensive. Like if your thrift store has like T-shirts for $2 and long sleeve shirts for $3, like you can get a good amount of inventory with $100 and just start from there. But you could also just start from your closet. You know, I always tell people to just start with the things that you already own. And
On here.
you said my what? My cousin?
Mm-hmm.
You cousin Sarah. Hey, that's what's up. I didn't even know my cousin was in here. But yeah, like I said, I do usually suggest people to just start with your closet that you already, with items that you already own, and by doing that, you can get like a better experience of selling things, and you won't necessarily lose out on any money because you're just selling things that you already have. But at the same time, $100, if $100 could be a lot to lose for some people, but for some people, $100 you're not really afraid to lose that. So I think $100 investment in a thrift, you could really get crazy with that. How often do you have someone not pay for an item on eBay, and what is your process for when that happens? That's a really good question. So there's two reasons as to why I have my listings good until canceled. And the first reason is in order to have the the solds hidden. So that's like one part of it. But the other thing is, and this only happens when somebody sends an offer and you accept that offer and then they don't pay. If they don't pay within 3 days, I'll open up a case so that way they won't. Hey, Larry Marshall, thank you very much. Thank you so much for teaching us. That's what's up. Thank you. Um, so yeah, where was I? What was I saying, Dami? Oh, you wasn't even paying attention.
Cancel.
Yeah, so the reason why I have things listed good until cancel is, like I said, for the first part of it, to hide my listings, but the second part is that if 2 or 3 days happens, um, you can always change the quantity of your listing, and that just by changing your quantity of your listing, you're not using more listings, and you can literally just relist that item without wasting any listings. So I do think that is that's a really good technique to use, and I just did that because it was constantly happening. I was accepting a lot of offers and people just was not paying. I'm just guessing it's like a regular buyer's remorse, but it was like 5 items that I was waiting on money for, and I think out of the 5, maybe 2 people paid, and I had 3 listings that I didn't get any money for it. So I just, instead of constantly wasting listings, I just decided to do it good until cancel, and I could just change the quantity. So you guys can give that a try too. On Poshmark, how do you know the original selling price? I usually pick up items thrifting. The original price is not important. The way how Poshmark does it, they'll ask original price and then listing price, and I guess they have this like there's something in their system where they like to check your if you go in their about me section, they'll say oh, you gotta plug this up again. Let me make sure the phone doesn't die, because that's the worst part of going live on your phone. If your phone died, the live show is over. But anyway, where was I?
I don't know, Akil.
I'm talking so much. Immediate payment on best offers would be perfect. Yeah, I mean, immediate payments on best offers, that would be. I hope eBay changes that process, but I mean, Poshmark got it figured out, Macari got it figured out, but I think eBay is just really lacking when it comes to that. But I'm really trying to remember what I was talking about. It was a good question.
The selling price, original selling price.
Right. The original selling price isn't important. They basically just like to base that off of like how big of a discount you're giving your sellers. I mean, giving your buyers. So for original selling price, I usually just put $0 because it really doesn't matter. So everything I have listed is usually just $0 for original price. Do you record all videos on your phone, and how do you edit videos? No, I only do my live videos on my phone because the webcam on my Mac is old. This is like a 2014 iMac, so it's kind of, the quality just isn't there. But my phone, even on my phone, is pretty old too. As long as I got some good lighting, the quality is pretty good. So I just do my lives on my phone, and then I edit everything on my computer. And right now I'm just using iMovie. I downloaded a lot of like transitions and a lot of just little like B-roll footage type of stuff, and I got a lot of stuff from YouTube, and I just downloaded that to make my videos look a little more professional. But for the most part, I just use iMovie because I think it's free, so
And
why
which
not?
camera do you use?
Which camera do I use? I use a Sony a6000. It's actually right here next to me. So I use this camera, Sony a6000, and we got this really big wide angle lens. This is a 16 millimeter 1.4 Sigma lens. So the good thing with this lens, I record all my videos on this lens, and it gives you that nice like blurred out effect. And sometimes when I'm shooting B-roll footage and you guys can like see like a real close up of the logo and things like that, that's what the wide angle lens is good for. So I suggest if you guys want to get into doing YouTube videos, you might want a wide angle lens. But at the end of the day, honestly, you can really just shoot all your videos from your phone. You don't even need to have a really high quality. As long as it's HD, at this point, 720 HD, you good to go. Anything less than that, I think you kind of playing yourself. But for the most part, 720 HD, you should be good to go. Oh, this was a really good question, and I'm probably going to spend a long time on this one. So, this was coming from David C. He said, "What would you tell someone in college? I'm a full-time student right now. Did a little over 8,000 in sales over winter break. Parents are making me go back to school, and I hate it. Truly think this is what I want to do, but don't know how to tell my family that." Now, when it comes to this question, this is something that I kind of sat with for a little bit because I definitely responded to that person already, but I kind of sat with this question because I wanted to really like articulate it the right way. I was actually going to do a full video, but I think we can really chop it up better now. So I think the number one thing, and this is for other students out there too, stay in school, number one, because the reselling game is popular now. It's trending now. Like Gary Vee and other celebrities, they're showing stuff and they're telling people like, "Oh yeah, you can flip it too. You can make tons of money on eBay and Poshmark." And that's true. You can make some good money, but the tools that made me successful being a reseller, I got all my tools from college, and my network came from college. I have tons and tons of like business related questions and just stuff like that. But I met a lot of those people in college, and just being a reseller, the amount of discipline that you need to really get things done on a daily basis, I only got that from working a full-time job and being in an actual career for like 5 years. I didn't just wake up one day and said, "Oh, I want to sell shoes and I'm going to sell shoes." Like, it was a gradual thing, and I didn't realize that it was years of work. Like, the process was happening way before I thought I was actually preparing myself. When I was working a full-time job, I still used to go thrifting basically every day. Like, I remember when I every day on my lunch break, just because how to get used to doing something every day. Because for a lot of, especially a lot of young people, like, people don't like doing the same thing every day. But people don't realize that in order to be great and to be successful, you kind of have to get accustomed to consistency. You got to get used to doing things, even things you don't necessarily want to do. You got to get used to doing it every day until it becomes easy. So for me, I would tell people definitely stay in school, take some classes that could probably help you be a better reseller, like business management. There's courses. I even wrote some of the courses down. There's a course called inventory management or something like that, which I never even heard of. But there's a lot of courses out there that people can take. Economics, there's trends in economics that you could take. There's fashion classes you could take. It's this fashion forecasting class that you could take, especially if you're a Poshmark seller, and it can basically help you forecast different trends. It could teach you how trends are going to be coming up and what to look for when it comes to when it comes to thrifting and stuff like that. So, like I said, stay in school, take advantage of your opportunities that you have while you're in school, make as many connections as possible, and from there you should be good. Because if I did things different, the only things I would have done different is to take different courses while I was in college. That would have probably made me more successful now. Mario Duns, any tips for the item description section for newcomers selling on eBay? I often see it being used for more than just describing the item. Yeah, so the thing about the description section in eBay and in Poshmark is that that's a SEO tool. Like you can use that for put in any keywords, any extra information that you think is relevant. You can put all of that stuff in there. So your title only gives you but so much room to give information, but in the actual description you can put everything else that is relevant. So you can put the size, you can put measurements, you can put, sometimes I see people put hashtags in there. So you can put a bunch of different things in your item description to make your item stand out and just help with the overall SEO, the search engine optimization. So for me, I like to answer the questions that I usually get. So I'll definitely say, I'll talk about the item condition, I'll give the size, I'll tell if it's a shoe, I'll always say if the box is included or not, and then I'll always end it with something like feel free to ask any questions. That way it's just letting the person know if you have questions, I'll respond. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So like I said, the description box is huge, but not a lot of people use it, and then some people wonder why they're not getting a lot of sales, but it's because you're not fully optimizing your listing to the best of your ability. We got a couple other questions here. Another question I got is, in terms of your returns, what is your return rate? Oh, I answered a question similar from the live feed, but I don't get a bunch of returns. I really don't get a lot of returns. Thankfully, I don't get a lot of returns. And the good thing is on Poshmark, if the item doesn't fit, the person can't return it just because the item didn't fit. So that's also a really good thing. Hi guys, glad you do these videos. I just started selling on eBay and I get no views. I understand what I'm doing wrong. I have good keywords and listing consistently. What do you think? It could be several different things why you're not getting sales. And I actually made a video on this and it'll be going up tomorrow, but I'll talk about it a little more now. One thing that I noticed, a lot of people, especially on eBay, what they're not selling desirable items. Like sometimes people, like the brands that you're trying to sell is just way too oversaturated. So it's hard to stand out. You know, it's hard to stand out with a Polo Ralph Lauren shirt because there's 50,000 other listings. So you might even want to try using promoted listings on certain items, you know, especially if it's like really oversaturated, but you think your shirt is really dope or it's in a really good size. You might try to do promoted listings. Another thing that helps, like I said, selling desirable items. Like I see a lot of people trying to sell brands that like a Kmart brand or like a Target brand or like a Walmart brand. And I'm not saying you can't make good money selling those items, but at the same time, even if you are trying to sell those items, you got to sell it at a discounted rate to make the person feel excited about purchasing it. Because for the most part, if it's just a regular flannel shirt, they can get that. They could go to their own Walmart and pick that up. So if you do want to sell lower ended stuff, you just have to price your stuff accordingly and price it kind of aggressively to get it moving. But those are really the things that help me. I make a lot of sales on eBay and on Poshmark because I sell items that people are looking for. I don't really sell things because I think it's cool. I sell it because I know people are searching for that. What's your opinion on Poshmark versus eBay for men clothing? For eBay, I think I'm biased because I've been selling on eBay since like 2008, so I'm definitely way more like for eBay. But Poshmark, it's up and coming because Poshmark used to be only for women's clothing, and since they opened it up for men, it's a huge opportunity there to sell clothing for men. A lot of times I'm selling shoes, and it's other female poshers that's buying these shoes for their husbands, their boyfriends, their brothers. So it's a lot of opportunities there to make some good money on Poshmark selling men's clothing. But at the end of the day, I do think eBay got it on lock in terms of having that audience, because people are searching every day for very specific items on eBay. And the brands that I sell just do a lot better on eBay as compared to Poshmark. Would you ever do a video on how you properly measure certain clothing items? Yeah, I could definitely make a video on that. I actually got a question in one of my previous videos about measurements, and I actually didn't even respond because 5 other people answered the question. But for me, what I like to do is measure the chest, the sleeve, the shoulders, like the shoulder seam, and then the overall length. But I can definitely make a video on that because I think some people, there's so many different ways on how to measure, and people there's some bad information out there. So I'll definitely make a good video on that. How do you keep yourself motivated? Shit, the money. I got bills to pay. I got a wedding to pay for. It's like if I don't, you cracking up. It's like if I don't make sales, I'm not making money, and if I'm not making money, like I'm gonna be sad. So in order to not be sad, I gotta make money to make sales. Like it all just kind of flows. Like some people are just more motivated than others. Some people they're just driven. Like some people just want to succeed. They want to be great at whatever it is they're doing, and that's me. Like it don't matter what I'm doing. I'm trying to be the best at it. So for me, especially making these YouTube videos now, I think that's definitely helped keep me motivated because I'm on YouTube not every day, but people are discovering my channel every day, and I'm talking my shit. I'm showing sales. I'm showing growth. So if I'm not actively like living in that truth every day and I'm not putting in the work, I won't be able to be comfortable with myself. I'm gonna be saying, damn, people on YouTube, they believe in me. They calling me the GOAT, and I'm over here eating chips. So for me, I know I gotta hustle. I gotta grind. I gotta do what I gotta do. And trying to find that work-life balance is what I'm still like struggling with. But for the most part, I think I'm getting better with it. What you think?
I think you're doing a good job.
Yeah? All right,
Very
thank
good.
you. Y'all heard it.
This is a funny question. I don't really know if it was serious and want to answer.
Oh, okay, let's see. What do you think about Floyd Mayweather and his domestic violence? Floyd and his domestic... Fuck Floyd. That's it. And tell him I said it. Fuck the money team, too. Oh, let's see what other questions we got here. Love this video. Oh, I answered all the questions. Yeah, keep sending me some more questions because I answered all the other questions that I had that already previously had. So keep sending some more questions. And if not, we'll probably wrap up in about, right now we're at 37 minutes, so we'll probably wrap up at 45. So if you guys have any other good questions, keep sending them. I'll answer as much as I can, but we'll end it at 45 minutes. How much do you spend monthly on your inventory, and how does this compare to how much you make monthly? On inventory, it varies. Like some months, it might be anywhere between $1,500 to like $2,500 on inventory. Now, I'm one of those people that I'm never gonna pass up a good deal. So if I can get something for a good price and it's gonna cost $500 or $200 or whatever, I'm gonna buy it. So there's no real cap. I don't necessarily put a cap on how much I want to spend a month, but I also get the majority, like 95% of my things that I'm selling comes from thrift stores. So if the thrift is booming that month and I get a bunch of inventory that month, I'm spending as much money as possible because I don't, like, tomorrow isn't promised. I'm not going to be guaranteed that this item will be here tomorrow. So I'm just buying it all up. So it varies between $1,500 to $2,500. The most I've ever spent in a month was $2,500, and that was because I did like somewhat of like a bulk order. It was from a garage sale, but I just bought a bunch of things at one time. But for the most part, $1,500 to $2,500. How many times a day do you share your Poshmark Closet? My Poshmark Closet, I share it. Well, as of right now, I'm sharing my closet 3 times a day. When I wasn't making a lot of sales, I was sharing my closet once, maybe once a day. Sometimes it was every other day I was sharing my closet. So right now I'm averaging 1 to 2 sales a day on Poshmark, which is pretty damn good for me because that's like 45 sales a month sometimes for me. So at this point, I suggest you guys share your closet at least 3 times a day. First thing in the morning, I like to share it. That way the listing is fresh. Any party that's like related to my closet, I try to share it to that party. And even if it's a party going on and I have nothing for that party, like a makeup party or like a kids clothes party, I'm still gonna share my entire closet just during that party, and I'm gonna share it through the closet. I'm just gonna share message deleted. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna share it like throughout that party. I mean, share it to my followers during that party because people are on the app, they're shopping, they're checking stuff out, but for the most part, the eyes are there, so I'm still gonna share my closet. What do you deem as slow months? Summer, winter? It really depends on what you're selling, but summer really is like a slow period, especially if you're a clothing seller. People aren't shopping as much for clothing. And if they are shopping for clothing, it's like active wear because everybody's more active and trying to get fit during the summertime. So I see a really big uptick in shoes and excuse me, I see a really big uptick in shoes and activewear in the summertime. Suits and blazers and coats, of course, like that's down by a lot. Like any type of dress shirts, blazers, stuff like that, that's down. So it really just depends, but I do think summer is like the slower period on eBay because overall people just aren't shopping, and not only just for eBay, but I think retail as a whole, the summertime is kind of slow because people are going on trips and stuff like that. How do you separate personal from business?
Money.
Oh, personal business. I have a credit card just for um, business related stuff. Whether it's lunch, whether it's gas, whether it's inventory. Like I have a separate credit card just for that, and I don't shop with cash. When you're shopping with cash, it's kind of hard to keep track. But just having a personal credit card, just having your own personal credit card and a separate card where you only use it for business, that kind of helps me, manage everything. Because at the end of the year, when it's time for taxes, I literally can just print out my credit card statements, hand it over to my, CPA, and then good to go. Most people who like my listings are not my followers. When we share, is that sharing for followers only? Let me read that one more time. Most people who like my listings are not my followers. When we share, is that sharing for followers? When you share to your followers and you share to, I've heard that it's better to share to your followers, because the party it doesn't. How can I explain this better? When you're sharing stuff to your followers, it gets out to your followers, but it also gets out everywhere. When you're sharing things to a party, and this is just what I've heard, it only goes to that party and it's not sharing everywhere. So I've heard that it's better to just share to your followers, but at the same time, when it comes to the likers, I'm not really sure if I even answered that question properly.
Just wrap up.
Yeah. So I think that's all the questions we got. I know I went through all the questions I already had on here. I'm not seeing any more questions in the live feed. So for the most, wait, I did see one about an LLC. Oh, are you a LLC? No, I'm a sole proprietor right now. But I probably will get a certificate once I start doing more wholesale orders and wholesale deals, just in order to you know, help with tax season, because being a sole proprietor is cool for now, but once you start making more money, it's probably better to have a LLC or a S corp or something like that, just to help with liability purposes. But coming up to the last few minutes now, so I definitely just want to thank everybody for tuning in to the second live show. This was really dope. I'm gonna keep doing these every Sunday at 1 p.m. and that's 4 p.m. Eastern time. And if there's any questions I didn't get to, I'm definitely gonna try to answer some of them in a future video.